This is Nerd News Cafe, Stir It Up, with Matt, Landon, and Justin.
Get ready to stir it up. It is round 27. I hope your Thursday is stellar, because it is stellar here. I'm Matt.
And I am Justin.
And I should be editing a podcast, but I'm recording one. My name is Landon Doe.
Well, your priorities are where they usually are.
Exactly, yeah.
Where they should be.
That's right. I don't feel disappointed.
In the house.
So, got a good show today, I think.
I think so.
I think.
We do. Let's sell it. This is going to be the best show you've ever heard.
The best. Well, semi-best. It's a good semi.
It'll give you a semi.
Oh, goodness.
And
I implied it.
And you're going to want to flick on the go away. Go away sign. Go away because I'm yanking it.
Yep.
The chain, of course, to turn on the sign. Is what you're yanking, right?
Well, that's how you get started.
Of course.
That's a warm-up lap.
J.O. in progress.
Oh, goodness.
I just like that phrase.
The J.O. God. It's close to B.O., which kind of go hand in hand.
What a bizarre fetish that would be if you listen to nerdy podcast and that's how you get your jollies. If that's the case,
I don't like it.
If that's the case, please contact Landon directly at Landos.
Oh, at Landos. Please send pictures.
And if you like nerdy podcasts, I have another one to tell you about at the end of the show, too. So.
Yeah, stick around for that.
Yeah, there you go. Round 2 for you.
That is what I call a tease in the most literal sense.
Oh, my goodness.
You're teasing. You're teasing. Adding to the spank bank.
That's right. And just like that is, we're on demand.
Jesus Christ.
So to move away from bodily fluids and more of a mental state, what are
we doing?
Yeah, what are we doing?
Well, today, one of the things we wanted to do was take a look back at the year that has been so far. But before we get there, and we're gonna preempt the comic book corner, so there will be no comic book corner today. It'll come back strong next week.
I was hoping for the comic corner.
I know there are going to be some really ticked off people, and I'm really sorry to disappoint all of my millions of fans. But it will be back next week. For this week, we are still going to have a Hot and Streamy, brought to you by Landos, and Got Talk, sponsored by Got Talk.
Sponsored by Got Talk. Can we use you as a sponsor? There you go.
And then we'll get to our best and worst of the year so far. Kind of a mid-year pulse check on all of geekdom. So let's kick it off. Landon, why don't you kick us off with your Hot and Streamy?
Yeah, since I am the only one that respects the format of this fine show. And speaking of Comic Book Corner coming back next week, we will have a review of Secret Empire 6. So
nice.
Brace for impact, everybody. Anyway, yes, this is Hot and Streamy, and since this is the first Hot and Streamy of the month, I always like to tell you what is coming to and has already left Netflix by the time you're hearing this. So if you're a fan of American Dad Season 1 through 4, you still have a little bit of time, but brace for impact. It's going to leave as well. Arriving on Netflix August 1st is all 3 of the Matrix movies, so you can watch the first Matrix movie and then ignore the other 2. And if you're a fan of big, giant mechanical spiders for no reason, Wild Wild West is dropping
on
August 1st. So I think we made reference to it a few weeks ago.
It's
Kevin
come up
Smith
a couple times.
Oh, yeah.
In his stand-up, talking about how he was writing a Superman movie, and for whatever reason, a movie executive really wanted Superman to fight a giant mechanical spider. Kevin Smith said, "No, that's ridiculous." So jump ahead a few years, and there it is in Wild Wild West, the giant mechanical spider that Superman was supposed to fight.
And if you want to do more Superman movie research that we never got, you can Google this right now. Nicolas Cage, Superman. There are a couple of amazing images.
Is crazy, yeah.
I think there's a documentary of the making of and what happened, why it didn't come to be. Like that is one of those stories in nerddom that it just befuddles me. It's like, how did this happen?
It is bizarre.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, continue.
August 4th, we get Season 3 of Voltron Legendary Defenders. I have a lot of friends who are really into the Netflix animated show of Voltron, so their next offering is dropping on the 4th. Also dropping on the 4th is White Hot American Summer 10 years later, Season 1.
Lord. Yeah.
I can't believe that got green lighted. I mean, I understand why. But...
People love it.
Oh, I know.
Like I was late to the party on White Hot American Summer. I think it is really fun, and the cast is amazing.
Oh God, it's got everybody in it.
Yeah, it's a virtual who's who of comedy in this day and age. You got Amy Poehler, Paul Rudd.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. Regardless, I'm not going to go through the list. Bradley Cooper, because I know I'm going to forget people. But definitely check it out if you're a fan of good comedy. Like I said, I was late to the party. Really enjoy White Hot American Summer. August 18th, Marvel's The Defenders drops. Does has anybody heard anything about?
I've heard a little bit about that.
Okay, is that a cartoon?
Yeah, based on the stellar Marvel's Iron Fist series. Right here.
Oh,
yeah. We should probably talk just a tiny bit just about that, but maybe we might save it. But go ahead.
August 25th. I believe Matt made reference to this a few shows ago. Death Note is dropping on Netflix.
No, Justin did.
Oh, okay. Right. Hey,
you know,
I said I had never heard of it or seen it.
All podcasters sound alike.
That's true. That's true.
And then finally, of note, on August 29th, The Good Place Season 1 drops. And that's one of those shows that's like, the premise, Kristen Bell dies and she goes to heaven, but she was kind of not supposed to go to heaven. She went to heaven in the place of somebody else. So, I really enjoyed it. I know some people... It wasn't their hashtag jams, but give it a shot. I mean, it's on Netflix. You're already paying for it anyway.
Yeah, might as well.
Mm-hmm. And then this one kind of sucks, especially for me and our listeners. Already left Netflix by the time you're hearing this on August the 1st, the entire run of Justice League and Justice League Unlimited, the animated show. Like that to me is like, still my Batman is Kevin Conroy from Batman the Animated Series. So this is still in that DC animated universe, which I know like Wonder Woman definitely has the movies trending in the right direction, but I still feel that the best like non-comic book media that DC has ever done is the stuff they did in the DC animated universe around that time with Batman, Superman, Justice League, even into the Teen Titans stuff. I really dug all of that, and staying in the animated realm with the Justice League, Young Justice season 1 and 2 is also already left Netflix as of August 1st. So that's a bummer, but I do think we're getting a season 3 of Young Justice. That's the rumor right now, so fingers crossed. More of that's coming down the line. Also leaving August 1st, the previously mentioned Kevin Smith in the last, coming to. Zack and Miri Make a Porno is already gone off of Netflix as of
They made it.
They made it. It's done.
Exactly, yeah. I like the movie.
It's in
Whatever.
the can.
August 4th, Superbad is going to leave Netflix. Like I said a little bit ago, August 15th, seasons 1 through 4 of American Dad is leaving Netflix. And I'll be honest, I'm kind of surprised it wasn't already off Netflix, because it really feels like all of those Fox animated shows, the rights to Netflix have been pulled and they're just slowly going over to Hulu.
Yeah,
it's like, I was curious where the hell Bob's Burgers went. That is where Bob's Burgers is. They have all of Bob's Burgers on Hulu. So FYI. And then finally, of note on Netflix, this isn't really nerdy. Well, it is nerdy, but for different type of nerds. For fantasy football nerds, August 30th, all 7 seasons of The League leaves Netflix.
When does?
August the 30th. So
okay.
You still have a little bit of time to watch Taco, Ruxin, and the crew and all their fantasy football debauchery. By the way, who the hell plays in an 8-person fantasy league? That is my biggest problem.
Dude, I had that question from the first time that I watched season 1 of the league.
I didn't know how they survived. I'm like, how does that work?
That's garbage.
It is garbage. That's hot garbage.
Hot garbage.
Oh, and then of note, this isn't
forever
on Netflix,
unclean.
But Amazon, season 1 of The Tick drops on August the 25th. And that has been your hot and streamy, a.k.a. the only part of the format that's going to be on the show.
I wanted to talk about American Dad just for a second, because that's one of those shows that I will admit, when I first started watching it, it wasn't my hashtag jams. Mm-hmm. And it took a long time for it to grow on me. But it is one of those things that, I'll tell you, basically, Adult Swim kind of shoved it down my throat for a while.
Yeah.
And it got to the point where, at first, I was like, okay, I started to get Stan. Like, I started to understand his character a little bit. I got over, because I didn't like Roger, when I first started watching it. And I got over that. And I got to the point where I really liked that show a lot. And I guess that's not how a show should be. It shouldn't have to grow on you. But it is one of those that, for me, Given, repeated watching and as I got used to the characters, I started to really get it. And now I'm a fan of that show. I came around.
Because you have Stockholm Syndrome with it.
I guess. Yeah.
It held you hostage so long, you're like, oh, I guess it's a really great show.
Similar, and this might be a little bit controversial, but a similar thing happened to me with King of the Hill. I didn't really like King of the Hill at first.
My son absolutely hates that show.
All right, let me jump in here. You just mentioned King of the Hill and American Dad. Like early on, those were both shows that were still trying to find their voice. They were still trying to find what they wanted to do, because in American Dad, they were just being Republican Family Guy. That was the entire shtick early on. And King of the Hill was trying to be this straight-laced animated show. And once they finally found their voices, I'll echo what you said. They're both great, especially
good.
American Dad is way better than it had any right to be.
It ended up turning out all right.
Mm-hmm.
I'll say American Dad. I'm not really like a avid watcher ever, and I think what it is what's the alien's name you just said?
Roger.
Roger is so much like Andy Dick, it eats me alive
He
inside,
is.
and I cannot deal with it. He's got funny jokes, don't get me wrong, but it's just, I don't like Andy Dick. I just don't like him.
I get that. I totally get that. And I think maybe it's kind of like the Stewie effect. A lot of people, when they watch Family Guy, do not like Stewie initially, but then you get it. It eventually kind of comes around.
But I will say, American Dad has the best episode ever about Christmas. Is the war between him and Santa Claus.
Yeah, that's
I
pretty
can
good.
watch that episode 100 times.
Yeah.
100 times where Santa Claus comes down in a sled like it's some kind of amphibious vehicle. The thing drops down. Elves come running out with sharp candy canes, and he comes out with a big cigar like General Patton. I'm like, this is the greatest thing I've ever seen. I go watch it 100 times.
Once they found their voice and what they really wanted to do, it turned into a good show. And I'll echo what Matt said. I'm not an avid viewer, but whenever Adult Swim puts it on, it's like, all right, well, I'm cool for the next 30.
Exactly. I wanted to also talk really quickly, because we didn't talk about this on Tuesday. So The Defenders is coming mid-month, and we found out this week that The Runaways is actually going to be connected to the Netflix Marvel Universe. And I know it's got a lot of the same people involved in the creative process of both shows, or all the shows. But it's very cool because The Runaways is not Netflix. It's on Hulu, right?
I don't know.
I believe it is on Hulu.
I've heard of it, but I have no idea where it's at.
Yeah.
The fact that, you're pointing out, the fact that it could even play in the same universe, is Hulu and Netflix starting to talk with each other?
Maybe.
Playing nice?
Yeah, maybe so. Maybe playing nice
Why
in the
wouldn't
sandbox.
they? I mean,
but I'll say
It's your direct competition, that's why.
in a sense, yes. But Hulu, I thought their dynamic was TV. Like, you get to watch TV, but you don't have to have cable.
Yeah, that is true.
It's going that way. Yeah,
Netflix
Netflix
more of
was more movies.
They're more movies, and we have our own production.
But Netflix, I think, has blurred the lines because of all their original series that they make.
That's true.
Yeah, and so they kind of do. I mean, they're definitely
kind of stars almost at this point.
They compete, but they have different properties.
Yeah.
So I know, speaking as a cable cutter, I've got both.
As you should.
And I think most people should if you're a cable cutter, because you've got a huge, portion of pop culture and media that you don't have access to if you have one or the other. So
That is true.
Yeah, so I think you do need both. But I think it's very cool. But they did say the likelihood of Daredevil showing up on the Runaways is probably not real high, because they wouldn't want to directly promote something that's on Netflix.
As of yet.
But you might see Easter eggs, and they're definitely going to refer to each other and that sort of thing. So I just think it's cool.
Yeah,
I'm fine with that. And is somebody who is a really big Runaways fan, that was one of those books that got me back into comics, was Brian K. Vaughan's original run on the Runaways.
Yeah.
I'm fine with Daredevil not showing up, because I really would feel like, oh, okay, Charlie Cox is here. That's cool. That's going to overshadow the Runaways.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And plus, I mean, just the, in the origin of the Runaways, they're not rubbing shoulders with superheroes. So.
Right. As they should.
Oh, and speaking of Amazon and Hulu, real quick, talking on movies, be excellent to each other, because every Bill and Ted movie is now on Amazon and Hulu by the time you hear this.
I love it.
Yep.
I love those movies. So I was thinking about The Gifted when we were talking about the Runaways. And so my question is, to me, those shows sound like they have kind of similar premises. Would you agree with that, Landon? Because I don't have a lot of exposure to the Runaways, but what I
don't
know
either.
of the Gifted is we've got two kids that have superpowers, and they're trying to avoid.
Seems like they run into more than that because the previews allude to quite a big cast of superheroes.
Right, but I think
Or power people.
they end up joining up with other people with powers.
Yeah.
And they're trying to avoid government,
Yeah.
interaction.
Assimilation.
Yeah.
In the aspect of them, like the Gifted trying to avoid the government, the Runaways are trying to avoid their parents. I really feel like that would be where the parallels stop. The Runaways is a story about a group of kids who they only know each other because their parents are friends, and they think they just hang out once a year and, we're rich, so we're going to decide who we give money to in this charity. So they discovered that their parents are a group of supervillains. So the Runaways are trying to run away from their evil parents and stop them. So, I mean, running from a authoritarian figure, I would see the parallels.
But okay.
I'm
the
interested
villain
to
is
see,
ultimately.
I'm interested to see what they're doing.
The antagonist is ultimately different. Yeah, I get it. Okay.
Same Overwatch, though, I would imagine, as far as like what the supervillains have the capabilities of doing versus the government have the capabilities of
government
doing. It's just done
organizations.
differently because I could see the villains like, you're useless, dead,
Yeah.
where the government's like, oh, get out of here, Bill, you're fired,
Yeah, I will say the Pride does some really jacked up stuff. They are definitely bad guys. So,
There is no doubt in your mind.
nope.
Sounds good. Okay. I'm going to end up watching both of those, I'm sure.
Sounds
because
good.
I think The Gifted sounds good, and The Runaways sounds like it's going to be pretty cool. And I love the fact that we've got at least a peace treaty going on between Netflix and Hulu so they can play in the same world.
Well,
So.
it's funny. I've noticed on the Hot and Streamy when things leave Netflix, it seems like they pop up on Hulu.
You've noticed that too?
Yeah, it's like it seems like there's some agreements being made there. It's like, hey, we would really enjoy being able to show seasons 1 through 3 of Bob's Burgers. Okay, we'll dump it in December. You can have it in January.
Do you think, though, that that's an agreement between Hulu and Netflix?
It's
or
probably
Hulu
agreement
outbidding
who owns
them?
It. Yeah, it's probably whoever
Yeah.
owns it. I would
Yeah,
love to
it's-
entertain the idea that they sit at a table and go,
you
they're
can
like
have
kids
this
with
one
trading
and-
cards. It's like, okay, I'll take all the Jurassic Parks and I'll give you all the Matrixes. That's kind of weak, dude. Okay, what if I throw in a couple seasons of Family Guy? Cool.
Yeah.
That's how I see him as two kids.
I would love to see it that way, but I don't know that that's what's going on. I think the money is the one that's talking
Well,
in,
yeah,
in this
but-
conversation.
Indeed, yes.
I like to think of a simpler world.
All right. So a lot of good stuff out there to stream then. No reason to go outside.
Yeah.
You guys have your work
Hell
cut out
no.
for you.
It's too hot.
Yeah. I think that is a nice segue into what we were going to kind of feature on today's episode, which is a look back on the year so far. Yeah. Join us, won't you, as we reflect on 2017, midway through the year, a little past midway through the year, and there's some big stuff coming. So as we make this list now, it's probably going all the lineup.
Everything's
the
going to be
orders are
overshadowed
they're
by
going to
what's
be
coming,
changed
yeah.
because I think especially as we talk about even movie TV, comics, whatever it is, yeah, we're going to be overshadowing a lot of that before the end of the year. But this is really just going to be, we're not really going to go category by category. We're just going to kind of look back, reflect on the things, especially the things we've been exposed to in 2017, and talk about some highlights and lowlights. So, Matt, you want to kick us off?
I was looking at some books,
Okay.
but I will.
Do they have pictures in them?
They do not have pictures in them.
Oh.
All right, I'm out.
I had looked into like the top science fiction, and I'm kind of behind on my new reading.
Okay.
But one book every time I look up recommend reads comes up is this one called Collapsing Empire.
Okay.
Just the premise of it, I want to go get it right now. It just basically to kind of shorten the synopsis, I've already read of it, but we figure out interstellar travel.
Mm-hmm.
It deals with some kind of thing called flow. Evidently, she's not just progressive. So it is progressive right in there.
It took me.
Yes, I got him
but
there.
I got it.
You love it, Landon. You love it.
I was busy trying to.
I am way too sober for that joke.
True. I should have done this in a not record.
What I was trying to work up was some sort of straight out of Compton joke. When
Well, you
said
could have
flow.
said, "Is there any hustle?" And
Yeah,
I would have
hustle
said,
and
"No,
flow,
there is
yeah.
not any DJ Quarrels." So,
Yeah, you should have definitely done that.
but nevertheless, we've expanded. Just like cockroaches, we're everywhere in the universe.
Yep.
This
As we do.
flow starts to break down.
Okay.
And the problem with that is you could alienate the entire human race if it does. So we would be scattered across the universe and no way to
Not be able to talk to each other.
or reach each other in any
Okay.
form or capacity. So basically, they've set out some people to figure out what's happening, how do we stop this, so forth and so on. And that's what it's about. I mean, that's the whole novel. But that's the number one novel that keeps coming up every time.
This is like a New York Times bestseller.
Yeah, evidently it came out March 21st, and people are all about it. It's
You may have
highly
said this, and I
recommended.
might have missed it. Who's the author?
J.K. Rowling.
Negative. John Shawliz. And the reason I didn't say it is because I can't say his name. And it's like Scalzi.
That needs to be a whole separate podcast. Matt pronounces words.
Oh my God. You know, you're talking about hashtag board. You need like names missaid.
John Scalzi.
Scalzi, sure.
Something like that.
Scalzi.
Scalzi.
I don't know. I wanted to give him a little pizzazz with his last name, Scalzi.
God, it's too bad we're not into sports because we could just make a segment
Oh my God.
of Matt reading NHL roster.
Giba Orbitupity. His name is
Finally,
Butter.
I got one. John Smith.
John Smith. Everybody's named Smith. The whole penguin. The whole penguins are named Smith. But yeah, it's the one that keeps coming up all the time. So I think it's a pretty top novel.
Wait, what? So it's a good thing I've decided.
Penguins.
Yeah, here he goes again. I was going to say it's a good thing I've decided not to bleep because Landon's going to make me bleep over top of you giving your reviews.
Eh.
Oh, I'm sorry. Somebody had to bring up the Pittsburgh Penguins who knocked out the best team in hockey, the Nashville Predators, those Jagweeds.
Can I say something? And that you're not present. I'm going to say something. If they were the best team, why didn't they win?
Because the NHL had it out for them.
There you
Did
go.
you not watch that game? They dribbled PK Subban's head off the ice and then gave him a penalty.
That did happen. That was pretty crazy.
I'm going to give you a little insight into Matt's sports watching. It's not hockey for any capacity. I don't care who it is.
Okay, we're talking about geek culture. This is the Geek Culture
No.
2017 in review.
Somebody's
Hey,
going to
hey.
edit.
Sports fans are massive geeks. They just don't know it.
They are.
All right, so I think it's fun. We're starting out on highlights on the high notes. So Landon, what are some highlights for you this year? so far?
Gaming, like I'm gonna give you my top 3 games of the year, but my number one I think is gonna surprise a lot of people. Kind of surprises me myself. I have to give obvious shout out to Zelda Breath of the Wild. That was a system seller on the Switch. We got a Switch the first weekend it came out. That game has not come out of the Switch. That is how good this game is. It's not, the 1080p a lot of Zelda people wanted, but at the same time, I'm super pleased with what they did. Full disclosure, have not beaten that game yet. I also want to give a shout out to Horizon Zero Dawn on the PlayStation 4. This is a game that, like, concept-wise was a very high concept, and I was kind of worried it wasn't going to follow through in the delivery. Super fun. This is one of the most engrossing, like, well-built worlds and games I've played in the last little bit. But once again, full disclosure, have not beaten it. The game that I have spent the most time with this year that came out is Friday the 13th, the game.
There you go.
There you go.
And this is by far not a perfect game. Let me say that up front. There are still issues with this game that need to be fixed, but it seems like the developers are still paying attention and are still going to try and quote unquote make it right. But for a game that was sold on a 1-to-1 Friday the 13th movie experience, they nailed it. Like I said, not a perfect game. The UI is still kind of clunky. The tutorial, there is not one. So all you can do is go into a game.
Go and die.
Exactly. Go and die. Or unless you have somebody who realizes you're a level 1 noob who has no idea what they're doing and can talk to you and chat and let you know what's up. That is a very nice aspect. There are some people out there like that. And I'm going to circle back around when we get to disappointments to this. But I really enjoy this game. It launched at $40, not a full $60 on, regular video games, but I enjoy the hell out of that game. It is frustrating sometimes, but God, it is so much fun. And I'll be like, I'm kind of surprised I'm putting that as my number one game of the year so far.
I love it because I think that that it was a independent creation and
Kickstarted.
kickstarted, and it's nice to see something like that being successful and fun and all that, like it's tough to compete in the video game world. And but like I think we've talked about this before. We now live in this day and age, the technology available to everybody. If you've got the knowledge, you can go create something that if you have enough of, you get the groundswell of support like they did on the Kickstarter, that you can be successful. And so what I hope we see is that independent projects like this push our big game developers to keep making better products. And it just, we all win in the end. But yeah,
Absolutely.
I enjoy that. I was going to say Zelda Breath of the Wild's a good call though, because we were talking about before the Switch came out that it felt like they were very confident that this was going to be a game people would love, and they were banking early adoption of that console on Zelda being good. And they weren't wrong.
They were 1,000% right on that.
Yeah, I've heard plenty of people say that it was totally worth getting the Switch when they did, because Zelda has been that good. And my son plays it. I haven't played it firsthand, but I've watched it, and in watching what he's done, the open world concept, every little aspect of it, I love what they did with it. I think it looks cool. It's got a cool aesthetic to it, and it's really fun. And I that one shocked me because you always expect things like that to kind of fall on their face, I guess, or you just never know when there's such a build up. When there's
exactly, the hype around it. I mean, you talked about it. Nintendo was very confident that this was going to be a system seller, and like I said, it's like it absolutely is a system seller. I have not beaten it, but I've read multiple people online. It's like, I've put 100 hours into this game, and I want to put even more into it.
Yep. So, all right. I want to throw out a couple of my highlights from the movie world. I think we've had some. I think we've had some good ones, and
we have.
And,
this year's been pretty good for movies.
It would be real tough to name a favorite, I would say, but I would say if I was going to make a list of highlights, Logan would be on there because we finally got that R-rated Wolverine that we've always wanted.
Full honesty, I completely forgot Logan came out this year because it came out at the beginning of the year.
It was an early one, but it set the tone, man. It set a high bar.
So good.
And then there was again such a build up for Wonder Woman and we didn't know if that was going to fall on its face, and it delivered exactly what we wanted.
And then some.
Yeah, so I think that would have to be on the list. For me, because it took me a while to get to it, I would say both Split and Get Out would be on my list of best movies. Split because it was a nice comeback for M. Night Shyamalan, and James McAvoy was so good in that movie. If I could sell anybody on that movie, it's just the performance that McAvoy gives. It's just totally worth it to go see him, and the way that he can change his look, his personality, his mannerisms every time he goes
actor.
between.
I can't say it enough. He's an amazing actor.
And then Get Out, Jordan Peele, man, what a directorial debut for him.
And that's something he's wanted. Well, writing, I think too. I think he wrote the movie, so
he did.
Yeah.
And he's wanted to do that for a very long time. And I think you listened to You Made It Weird.
Yeah.
He has an interview on there. If you guys are a big Jordan Peele fan, definitely listen to him and Keegan's interview.
Yeah, Keegan's is good too. But
on that podcast, really, you get a real insight to who these people are. And Jordan, he said on there, this is something I've wanted to do for a very long time. So, it's paid off for him because he's writing the second one, obviously.
Yeah. Well, it's one of those things too where I love it for him, but I also kind of feel bad because I'm like, man, speaking of high bars, he set a high bar for himself.
He did.
For that for that movie. So, so I'd put those four out there, and I'm sure that there's some that I haven't mentioned. I know War for the Planet of the Apes is going to be on some people's list as one of the best movies this year so far.
Can I piggyback in here?
Yeah, jump in.
Speaking of monkeys, I'm actually not going to go Planet or War for the Planet of the Apes because I haven't gone around to see it because movies cost money and I need money. Kong Skull Island. Yeah. That was one of the most fun experiences I've had at a movie theater in a long time. And for a kaiju dork like me, it's like I just want to see big giant monsters fight each other. It's like, yes, the story is stupid. I will fully admit to that. The story is dumb as hell, but but the cast of humans is really strong. Tom Hiddleston, John Goodman, Brie Larson, half the cast of Straight Outta Compton.
Samuel L. Jackson.
I'll support him on this.
Sam Jackson. How did I forget?
When did we ever care about the story as kaiju fans? When did we ever care?
No, we just want the monsters.
Let me tell you, never. We have
Exactly.
never cared about the story.
We don't care. We want monsters. We want to see monsters.
It's like speaking of the story, I tried to watch like an old school Gamora movie the other night.
Oh gosh.
Or no, I said Gamora. Sorry,
I knew what you meant.
Yeah. Holy dog crap! Like these movie stories were like, all right, let's just work on the effects and the budget. All right, we got to turn in the script in 15 minutes. All right, let's work on the story.
The sparkler wheel tortoise there.
Yeah, or let's get some stupid fairies to bring Mothra.
Oh
down.
my God, Mothra! And I've heard Mothra's coming to this new one.
Mm-hmm.
Yes, she is. Or yeah,
whatever it is. All I can hope for is death to this thing. Just kill it dead.
Fire.
Fire kills everything.
Mothra is a friend. She is a defender.
I hate Mothra.
Look out for King Ghidorah, that asshole. That's who you need to watch out for.
No, I'm fine with that. I mean, if he eats Mothra, I will be a new fan of King Ghidorah. And the only person that they can kill any harder than Mothra is Jar Jaguar. And I mean, stomp that thing into the ground. That was the worst.
Shoot, that's like some Godzuki stuff right there.
I mean, terrible stuff. So yeah, those are the negatives.
So before we get into some of our worst ofs, any other highlights we want to throw out on the table?
Movie wise, I want to say John Wick 2 was
there's a good one.
Absolutely. I mean, they stayed within the theme. It was great. I liked it, and I like that we're moving forward with John Wick 3. So
yeah, there's a John Wick universe now. I think that's cool. And
that's
also,
awesome.
Shout out to the best Spider-Man movie we've ever gotten, Spider-Man: Homecoming.
There you go. I want to throw out a tech shout out, which is first of all, they've started shipping the Model 3 Tesla, which is less than 90,000. So that's a good. It's $30,000 car. I mean, which
that's affordable.
That's affordable for a lot of people. Whereas
you pay more for less right now. I'll tell you that.
Yeah. So that's absolutely true. So shout out to Elon Musk there, and then another shout out because they have found a way. The Tesla Solar Company has found a way to make solar roofs cheaper than getting a regular roof.
Well, if you want to hop on the Musk train, reusable rockets.
Yeah, well,
I mean,
absolutely.
he finally got it to work this year. Finally,
and now they've done it a dozen times.
Now it's like nothing. It's like, oh yeah, I can do that all day.
Yeah.
And then you talk about solar. Now that we have this, solar's getting all this money put into it. We have heat. That is a big science thing. I would say the top science thing that anybody gives a crap about. But they're using the heat from solar cells as an energy source also. So not only are you getting the UV as that energy, you're getting the heat from it as a double.
Yep, it's pretty amazing.
Double source.
Yeah. So those are my tech highlights so far for this year.
But building off of space, shout out to Guardians of the Galaxy 2.
I wanted to go there, but I was like, you guys will get it.
How did I miss that one too?
I loved Guardians too.
That's the thing. That is how strong the superhero movie genre, or I guess just dork movies, have been this year. It's like, oh yeah, Guardians 2 came out.
Right. Didn't mean to make it an afterthought because it shouldn't be, but I wasn't. It just wasn't front of mind because I was thinking of some other stuff. But
even after I called called Gamora a big giant kaiju.
Exactly. As she should be. She could be a kaiju. She would dominate.
That's right.
I do think we're going to get some domination from her in Infinity Wars, just based on what we've heard.
That'd be cool.
Yeah, her. I wouldn't mind to see, after seeing 2, I wouldn't mind to see more Nebula. I thought that. I mean,
we're definitely going to get more Nebula. If you've actually if you've read the comic book.
Oh, I've heard. Yeah.
Gauntlets, holy crap! She goes through some stuff.
Yeah.
I don't know that they're going to do it like that, though.
I don't think it's going to be a true 1-to-1, but it's like, I am curious if they're going to adapt any part of that Nebula story into the movie.
Yeah, I read something on Nebula and the trials and tribulations of her, and it's pretty nasty.
She's been tribulating.
She's gone through some stuff.
It's pretty nasty. So,
to quote Hannibal Buress, she's been tribulating.
Oh my goodness.
Oh, shout out to Hannibal Buress. He was also in Spider-Man: Homecoming. Did you guys hear what he did for the premiere of Spider-Man: Homecoming?
No, what did he do?
He hired a quote-unquote Hannibal Buress lookalike to take his place and give all the interviews for him. And
I
go
heard
sit
about that. I didn't know it was
in
that.
his seat.
I didn't know it was there. That's hilarious.
Yeah, and as far as I saw, nobody called him on it.
That's hilarious. That's awesome. Way to
Hannibal
go,
Buress
Hannibal.
is the best.
He really is. I want to give a TV shout out, and maybe this isn't a fair highlight of 2017 in the TV realm. Maybe it is. I'm saying it is because I can say it is because I make the rules.
Finish your podcast.
But it's ours. You guys can make the rules too, but this time I'm making the rules.
Thanks, Chief.
The announcement of our first ever female doctor. I feel like that's a TV highlight. Of
Yeah,
2017
absolutely.
so far.
Absolutely.
So
Can I go ahead and get to one of my lowlights? The just jagweed Neanderthal reaction on the internet to it.
Yeah, there you go.
The influx of the highlight is the negative.
Like if you're one of these people that have a problem with a female doctor, you need to reevaluate your priorities in life and get.
Hey, I just want to let you know that we did have a female captain. Her name was Janeway. Way back when, that was a female lead. So I mean, Star Trek already did that. That's cool.
Oh wow, so shocking! Star Trek S.J. Debin over here.
Just saying that was out there.
He's throwing out an all-time highlight.
That's right. No, I was just saying, they've done it.
Yeah, and then still staying in the TV realm, I would say, we talked about while we were kind of game planning for this, Unbreakable Kimmy Schmidt Season 3 came out this year, which is
Still alive, damn it.
still good. We also got a new season of Master of None, Aziz Ansari's project, which is really good, really strong. Handmaiden's Tale's been turning a lot of heads, and that's not one that I've seen, but I hear great reviews about it. So, and these are all three of these are streaming. So, I guess maybe streaming in 2017 is a highlight, if I want to put it that
Oh,
way.
absolutely. I mean,
That's a great call, and you didn't even mention Glow.
Yeah,
on
Glow.
Netflix.
There you go. Glow's another one.
A little 4 series run called Castlevania.
Castlevania. It's so brief that it can maybe slip your mind, but man, it was strong. That for me was such a surprise because I just didn't know what to expect, and I really, really enjoyed it. So yeah, I'd call that a highlight for show. Faux show.
Oh, show.
I like the call on streaming. Streaming has definitely been a highlight of 2017.
Yep.
I was trying to see if this qualifies, but I'm going to say the second season of The Expanse is insane.
Okay.
Like the first season was great, but they really stepped it up on the second season and really leaned into what their whole canon is. So
I'm glad you brought that up. That is a show that I've heard nothing but great things about. That is on my list of stuff to watch. Same with Killjoys. I've heard really good.
That's
thing
another
about
one I've
Killjoys.
heard too. It's like a lot of people like Killjoys, and it's right there. It's on my list.
Killjoys is eliciting Firefly comparisons.
Wow.
That and if y'all know me on a personal level, that is high freaking praise.
Somebody put a bar up there for you.
Yeah, that's almost
Indeed.
that's almost bad that you heard that because you're going to be expecting a greatness.
Exactly. Yeah, I'm going to be expecting the filet mignon of sci-fi television.
I'm surprised, Matt, you didn't throw out for TV Legion because I know
would
you
say
really
Legion.
like it.
We've talked about Legion quite a bit. It's really highly rated, but the problem is it's kind of a niche. I like it.
It is, but for
it's my
you-
highlight.
for you.
I
A little
think I
bit.
love.
I mean, it is bonkers. It's still good though.
I would say if it falls into a highlight category, not so much TV, but innovative story, because it does not follow the linear here to here to here. It is all over the place. I mean, you're in a guy with multiple personalities mind, so it's fun. I like it.
So I think we should bridge that into lowlights because
goodness.
if we're talking superheroes, if you go out and do any kind of research at all about,
Excuse me.
are you hot and streaming right now?
Oh, I thought I was muted. Hey, this podcast just has to be somewhere, man.
That kind of falls right in for your.
Wow,
That was pretty good for your.
that's a nice little backdrop to me walking into Iron Fist.
That's exactly what we're talking about. Is the worst getting pissed away right here.
pissing
done
that
yet.
property right down the toilet. Enjoy that, listener.
How's that, Foley?
I
Wow,
really thought I was muted. This is
Whoa.
slightly embarrassing.
it's kind of hilarious though. So Yeah, so Iron Fist. I think
Good
that's like
I
topping
think I'm the
a lot
only
of
one that's
lists.
watched it. Did you watch it all the way, Landon?
Oh hell no.
No, I didn't watch it.
Like I feel bad because I really want to get caught up on the Defenders, but I just heard so much negative about it that it's like
It's bad.
like you said it a few weeks ago. It's like we only have so many hours in the day. It's like and it, like you don't want to give out your free time to something that you know is bad.
Yeah.
I just, true honesty here. It is a low light. It's probably the worst show that they've done. It's not good. It's not good to watch. It was a chore. It was a chore for me. I'm not gonna lie. I was like, I'm just gonna get through this. I'm just gonna watch it and okay.
And I want to say really quickly, this was something that I mentioned earlier. I wanted to get back to. There was, I think it came from USA Today, a USA Today critic that had early access to watch the first few episodes of The Defenders.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
And it makes me very nervous because apparently Danny Rand is integral to this series.
And I
Well,
don't
let
know.
me jump in here and counter it. I've seen, I think it was IO9 or Gizmodo. They saw the same 4 episodes that this USA reviewer did, and they said they really liked it.
They enjoyed it. That's fine, but Matt, and when we've talked about it in the past, we've said maybe he'll be kind of pushed aside, and Iron Fist won't be right out front and kind of driving the thing. He'll be a side character, but that doesn't seem to be the case. So I'm hoping that this person was just maybe very against Iron Fist.
Oh, yeah.
And so they didn't want to see him at all, and that kind of colored their perception. But
And that's how I felt about the article. Reading it as it was, I think my first comment to you is, who wrote this?
Yeah.
Because I'd really like to know their opinion overall. What was their opinion about Daredevil 2 or season 2? What was their opinion? Because you get more of a feel of how these people feel about this
Yeah.
show in general. But if they have made him the center point of Defenders, we're screwed. Because he's a strong actor. It's just not a strong character.
so I think we all have to hope
that would be a misstep.
Yeah, that maybe they didn't do that. But I'm going to throw out a low light movie, and it just hit theaters. It almost had a 0% on Rotten Tomatoes.
Set a record.
And that is the Emoji Movie,
And it's T.J. Miller.
which is sad. There's a lot of good people in that movie. It's another one of those where
Patrick freaking Stewart's
Oh,
in
yeah.
it.
Yeah,
Peace to, buddy. He is all up in it. And here's the thing, though. If you write me a check to be a voice for anything, I'm not going to lie. I'm going to take your check, and I could care less. My face
absolutely.
isn't in there.
Yeah.
right. It's just a voice thing, and people maybe it's forgettable.
You want a low light that's right there with it, I think, is Transformers. The
Last
last night. Garbage.
Yeah. I would throw, if we're going to talk about Knights, I'd throw that.
King Arthur thing?
Arthur.
Yeah, right in the dumpster.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But while we're talking about stinkers and like big budget and not making your budget, Valerian's in there too now.
That disappoints me because I was all set to go see that.
Yeah.
Me too. I don't think any of us were going expecting, like a story on the lines of Citizen Kane, but I mean, like just the spectacle of it. I mean, like it has been a long time since we have gotten a full-blown sci-fi just swing for the fences movie, and it really felt like Valerian was that. And seeing the box office returns, I don't know how soon we're going to get another shot at it.
This movie's going to lose like $100 million. It's crazy.
Mm-hmm. Well, it's
bad.
like off the top of your head, do you know what the budget is? Because just looking at it, this looks like one of the most expensive movies ever made. Because it seems like 95% of it is CG.
A lot of it is. I want to say, and this is coming from memory, but I want to say the budget was somewhere in the neighborhood of $200 million. The thing is, there were reports that, like, it has. I don't think it's officially come out. So some places were saying it was this, some was that, but it seems like the consensus was right around.
But
the 200
let's face
range.
it, are they really going to? I mean, yes, domestic box, they're going to probably get hosed. But really, looking at that movie, do you think the freaking box office internationally is going to be that low? I think
That's a
China.
good
I think
point.
China's going to blow it out of the freaking roof.
Well,
This
so this came from a French comic book, and they're saying like at the time that all these reports weren't coming out, it hadn't been released yet in Europe. So they were saying that there could be, because people know this franchise in France and in Europe, so it could be that they get a big push from Europe too.
That's a good call. I mean, like this could be Warcraft the movie all over again. Like Warcraft debuts in America, like at the box office, it bombs, but we're getting a Warcraft 2 because it went overseas and did gangbuster numbers.
I didn't really hate Warcraft. I mean, I didn't understand the characters as much as you guys would.
It wasn't a bad movie, but
really
at the same time, it's like
I really enjoyed the graphics of it. I enjoyed the visuals, man. It was fun.
I mean, I'll agree with everything you said. It's like it wasn't necessarily a bad story, but at the same time, it's like you're throwing just a ton of lure at people that probably it's like, oh yeah, I've heard of World of Warcraft. Okay, that's cool that you know of World of Warcraft, but this movie has nothing to do with World of Warcraft.
It's a possibility. I will say this: it is hard to get people to buy into a science fiction movie.
That is a fair freaking
world. You know, it's there. You have to accept certain things to be true, like physics and things like that. I mean, even if you're not a big on the broad on those subjects, you do understand gravity. You do understand, we can't travel interstellarly through warp holes and stuff. And whatever those concepts are that they brought in that movie, people may have been like, this is a little too far-fetched for me.
Mm-hmm. So. Absolutely. Because, I mean, like, just looking at the trailers, it's like I vaguely know what the story for Valerian is, but it's like, oh, there is so much going on.
It seems like a lot to bite off.
It does. And speaking of movies, I think somebody's doing a little research here on the budget and so forth.
Well, what I found was for Valerian that the highest that I saw was 180 million, but it's just reported. And so far, the total gross for that movie is 30 million.
God, I didn't even make what
30 million.
They didn't even make what Assassin's Creed has made, but
yeah, $30 million so far.
Damn.
Yeah,
wow,
that hurts, and that's really disappointing because I the whole creditation for this person is Fifth Element, and Fifth Element is I could watch that movie 100 times.
Well, and it's interesting you bring up Fifth Element because I've seen a lot of people compare this to Fifth Element.
It's supposed to be. I mean, the director, that's what he makes. This is what he makes, This is like the guy...
big, giant sci-fi operas.
Yeah, it's like when you watch, I can't remember the director's name. He did Moulin Rouge and Romeo and Juliet, and then he did Great Gatsby. Same director, same visuals. You get the same type of storytelling. And I'm guessing that's what's happened here. And maybe we're too departed from Fifth Element to think anything of it.
I was trying to think about how to phrase this in the right way. If we're staying on our review of lowlights for 2017, I think the comic has been good, but for a lot of people, the reveal of Cap being a bad guy has been a lowlight.
It's been a lowlight for a lot of people.
Yeah, that's a great point because, like, I mean, obviously, I continue to talk about the Secret Empire comic event, but part of the reason I'm continuing on with this is I just want to see where this is going because this is so bizarre and out of just nowhere that Captain America is practically a Nazi or a fascist or whatever you want to call him. And it's like, I do think it can be both a highlight and a lowlight because we talked to people at Free Comic Book Day when we recorded that they're just straight up out on it. They want no part of it.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. I don't know. I think if you had to pick, I know it'd be the low light of comics, but I think it's the direction that people don't like.
The story.
Yeah, the story. The low light would be the story.
I have another low light for comics.
Do it. Hit it.
Okay, I'm going to do the low light of Marvel's higher ups blaming low comic sales on diversity because this is going to, like, I don't want to say I agree with him because I don't, but at the same time, there's a little bit of me that agrees. It's like, okay, maybe don't make Thor a lady and Wolverine a lady and Iron Man a lady all at the same time. It's like, I am all for diversity in comics because it's like I've talked, like, how many podcasts have I said that Kamala Khan and Miles Morales are my homeboy and girl respectively? Yep. But at the same time, it's like if you want to celebrate diversity, make some new damn characters. Like stop trying and go back and change what people already like. It's like and I know I might get some people pissed off at me about this. It came out this year that Bobby Drake, Iceman, is gay because the young Iceman and the Young Avengers comes out as gay. So now Bobby the entire time has been gay. But if you pay attention, like, Iceman's hooked up with like with who he's hooked up with is a practical who's who in ladies of Marvel. So it's like again, I am all for diversity, but it's like maybe create something new instead of going back and erasing what people have already liked and being like, oh, by the way, this is the way it's always been.
Yeah. So Landon's coming on the record as saying female leads are a low light of 2017.
Oh.
Yes, and on that same note, television highlight Game of Thrones. We're only 3 episodes in at this point, and in the second episode, one of my highlights, which you can hear me talk about on my very own podcast, Game of Thrones Talk, aka Got Talk, buttonmunchtships.com, buttonmunchtships set on your button munch. I point out that when Daenerys is sitting with her war council, the leads are 4 ladies and then Tyrion Lannister. So yes, lady leads clearly not working.
I kid. Of course, that's not what you were saying, but I just think it's fun to make it sound like you said something awful.
Absolutely.
Let the record show.
Like seriously, I do not mean to step on anybody's toes with what I just said. That is just my opinion.
Yeah, you're good.
I think I would say a highlight and a low light is the phone industry right now.
The phone industry.
Well, it's like a rush to get something out that's different, but at the same time, we don't work out the bugs.
Yeah.
And you can attest to this. We both jumped on the Samsung S8 Plus, and it just we didn't get Bixby till now.
Yeah,
we got it now, and it works great. I really enjoy it. But how long did we just have this useless button? And now, I've heard there's talk in the Apple rumors that the iPhone 8's coming out as hard as they can get it out, but it may not be complete, or different things they can't make work, and it's just back and forth. And I'm just like, do we really need to hurry?
Stop rushing to market. Like get it right.
Let
first.
it happen. Yeah.
Well, it's a bummer, but unfortunately, I don't think we can say this is anything new. Right. We, the consumer, have been paying to be beta testers since, just off the top of my head, the first iPhone came out. Because the first iPhone wasn't great when it hit market, and every iPhone has not been perfect when it's hit market, and it's the same on the other side of the smartphone as well.
But they know they're going to sell them. People are going to buy them. Early adopters,
heck yes! Everybody
heads,
has to have that new hotness. I guarantee you, there is somebody in this world right now lined up in an Apple store for the Apple iPhone 8 that has yet to be announced. There's already somebody lined up.
Oh yeah. So Apple's like, oh, we're sorry it wasn't totally done. They don't care.
They don't give.
Hey, as a stockholder, I'm okay with it.
So they keep lining the pockets, so they're going to keep doing
Absolutely.
that. But I think you're right. Like we could say, if we're going to do another like overarching low light, release before completion of games.
Yeah, consumer
technology.
beta testing is a huge low light. I don't know. It pisses me off more than anything.
Yeah. So
it definitely does take advantage of us, the consumer, but at the same time, it's like I don't think that's changing anything.
It's not going to. It's not going to. There's no money in changing it. So
nope.
As long as we're paying the money for these half-completed projects, they're like, fine, we'll keep putting them out. So.
Well, and let me jump in here talking on half-completed projects. If I'm a certain part of the internet, one of my lowlights is going to be around Mass Effect Andromeda.
There you go.
I'd say, yeah.
Not the game itself, though. I was fine with the game. My biggest complaint is the support or lack thereof from BioWare, and then the toxic reaction that it got online.
Yep.
Like, I really feel like this is one of these times where a bunch of ding-dongs on the internet might have just derailed what was going to happen with a franchise. And I said I'd talk on it again. At least on the PlayStation 4, you're going to get a few good apples, but for the most part, the community on Friday the 13th, the game on PlayStation 4, is completely toxic. Nothing but garbage people who want to get themselves over and just bitch and shit talk everybody. And oh, by the way, we're on the same team. Yeah, I just might come and decide to murder you because I'm an
trolls.
Yeah,
Trolls.
Murder you.
And it's aggravating. It's like these publishers are putting out some good stuff, but we, the entitled consumer, like think we're higher and mightier. Yeah, we can vote with our money, but at the same time, it's like you can't get everything that you want. That's just the way life works. And at the same time, it's like maybe take the good with the bad and don't get on a forum and send out death threats. How about that?
Yeah.
This is why we can't have nice things.
Yeah, this is exactly why we can't go nice places.
Yeah.
Amen. Yeah.
But speaking on games, I want to say a highlight would be the DLC for Battlefield 1.
There you go.
That was fun. As much as I got to play it, and I can almost promise you when they release the Russian side of it, I'm going to try to get all of it at one time because that's what I'm waiting on now. And
is this
then-
going to be before or after sanctions against Russia start World War III?
Oh my gosh, we got to worry about North Korea first. So
Oh, by the way, speaking of lowlights, television, anytime President Big Boy is on the screen. I hate it.
That's a TV low light.
TV.
Yes.
I want
How
to
about just humanity low life?
game/technology highlight would be VR and Star Trek Bridge Crew game VR. That I've watched. I can't play it because we didn't put it on my VR. It's on the PlayStation, the Vive, and the Rift. I guess it needs a lot of power to push, which I understand. I get it. I'll play it someday, hopefully. But to be on the bridge of the starship and to make decisions with your friends and stuff, that looks really fun. So, you pick missions, make bad decisions, you look at me, you're not the captain now kind of person. So that's a highlight for me, that we're getting to the point where you can immerse yourself into some of these worlds that you've only seen from the screen. That's, from movies or TV, and now you can be in them.
Yeah.
Well, let me just say this on VR, because it definitely does feel like the technology is getting closer and closer to what we've always envisioned VR being, this whole enclosing experience. I hope the technology is going to become more available or more affordable.
I agree.
Because right now, I want to get into VR, but that price point is so prohibitive.
hurts.
It's like,
It hurts.
It's like I can't even entertain the thought of getting VR right now.
Oh, you could think about it.
Oh, you definitely think about it.
No. I can't afford to think.
So it's like, but rent, food, gas to get to your job, those are things that stand in the way.
Exactly, yeah.
Basic needs. Who needs
I did see, I thought I sent it to you guys. Did you guys see where they have put Mario Kart into a VR?
Yeah, I saw that.
It's hilarious. It's not here, but I was like, oh, that's exactly what we were talking about, that they may try to pull in Universal.
Well, it's almost like they listen to this amazing podcast, just like you should tell your friends and family to listen to, everybody.
That's right.
NerdNewsCafe.com.
Get it.
Well, we've used up our time. I know we haven't hit everything, but I feel like we had a pretty good summary of the year so far. But
Let me ask y'all something real quick, because this has been a show that's been somewhat of a hot button, or rather it was when it came out. Did y'all watch 13 Reasons Why?
I did not.
My daughter did.
Yeah, my daughter did
Okay.
as well.
She really, really enjoyed it, and she is really looking forward to the second season. I don't know. I mean, I had to go through when she asked permission to watch it, because it is a little,
It's a little mature.
a little mature. And
Yeah.
I looked over, I went on IMDb. If you guys have kids out there and you want to know if something's appropriate for them, IMDb parental? Oh gosh, I'd have to go to it. But basically, there's a parental thing on IMDb to tell you about whether something's appropriate or not. And I enjoy it because it makes it easy. It's probably the easiest thing there is, and it tells you, sex, violence, gore, and language,
Okay.
and it tells you exactly what's in it. And I looked on there, and there were some subjects on there, but I thought there were some good lessons in that show. And there seems to be a lot of stuff going on with suicide here lately. Guys, don't kill yourself.
Well, bullying.
Bullying, suicide, bullying into suicide. I mean,
Yeah.
there was a lot of lessons in that show, and I was like, no, this is probably important for her to watch.
Yeah.
And guys, don't kill yourself.
Absolutely.
There's
Well, I was
amount of
curious
bullying.
because-
I know it's hard. I've been there. I've been bullied a lot when I was in school. Guys, don't do that.
Well, and especially now, it's like for people like us, it's like when we were nerds growing up, it's like that was just an invite to get your ass whipped. But now being a nerd is cool. But it's like, unfortunately, bullying into suicide is still relevant. As I was curious because I saw a lot of divisive opinions online about this show, because like my girlfriend watched it and I watched it by proxy. It's an interesting story, but at the same time, there's some stuff. It's like, okay, this makes me uncomfortable. So I was kind of curious on that. But speaking on suicide, if you or anybody else you think might be at that point, there is a national suicide prevention hotline, 1-800-273-8255, 24/7. So like Matt said, if you get to that point, seek help, man.
Absolutely.
We're here for you. Download some podcasts.
Hey,
Come over to Matt's house.
You
He'll
can
give
you can
coffee.
hit, you can hit us up on DM. We'll talk
Exactly.
to you.
We will slide up in them DM slots.
Yeah, we will.
look, Justice League is a trash fest. I understand, but it's no reason to
No
take a lot.
reason to take yourself.
They will make better movies eventually, and you can always fall back on Marvel. Come on.
Exactly. Yeah. I mean, have you seen that Thor Ragnarok trailer? Can we talk about that as a highlight?
Well, it hasn't just the trailer.
Just the
Yeah.
trailer. well, that
might-
would be trailers as
Yeah.
a highlight. That was your highlight this year, I could tell.
That trailer might be one of the best trailers of the year. It could be.
And speaking of great trailers, Stranger Things season 2.
Oh,
October
yeah.
27th.
Just getting into that, guys. I hooked my wife into it. We're watching it together. I didn't think she'd be into it, but she has all these
Oh, yeah.
questions. I'm like, yes.
Yep, that's good stuff. You can't get.
You
out
guys
of
were
it.
right. You guys were totally right with the nostalgia and what it is. And I love the music.
They nail it.
Like, I love the music in the
Yeah.
background. I'm like, I'm
Yep.
into every bit of this show.
Yeah,
Yep.
yeah. It's one of those things. I was surprised at first when Landon, when you watched it the first time and you said it wasn't your thing, because when we watched it, I think we watched it all in a couple of days, and we couldn't stop. And so.
Oh, my wife can stop. She falls asleep.
Oh, well. Aside from that. Oh, and talking about binging and almost being done, I have 2 episodes left of Twin Peaks, the original series.
Oh.
2 episodes. We're almost done, so I'm ready to move into the Showtime Twin Peaks The Return, I think is what it's
The
called.
Return, yeah.
And so
Or I was going to say it's perfect time for you to stop watching just based on your.
I know. I might as well
Castlevania.
stop. Tap out now. But the reason I bring it up is because this is another one that has showed up on Best of 2017 so far list. People
That's what
say,
I've heard.
People say it's insane.
People were
and it's
disappointed when
crazy.
it left. I mean,
Yeah.
there was a lot of what? You know, I
Yeah.
remember way back when that people were upset about that show not being on.
Yeah.
They felt the same way about it as people felt about X-Files before they kept making more seasons. But no, it was a good X-Files is a good show. I'm not going to lie. But I mean, the excitement that's went into it coming back on TV is as big or bigger
Yeah.
for this, coming back. So
It's kind of funny because we didn't start watching Twin Peaks until we had watched several seasons of Portlandia. And Kyle MacLachlan is
it's the same area,
he's
isn't it? Right?
Well, Northwest, I
Yeah,
guess.
as I say, Northwest.
So Kyle
It all
MacLachlan is the mayor of Portland in that show, and so that was my first exposure to Agent Dale Cooper, and I like him on that show. But now I want to go back and watch Portlandia
Is
with
it-
the context
with
of
thinking him as that guy.
yeah, I love him.
That's fun.
He's great. But anyway,
Real quick, speaking of seeing somebody else in a property that you like, Nathan Fillion, Captain Mal, the girlfriend started watching. I think it's called the Santa Clara Diet or
Yeah.
Santa Clara Diet
I've
on
heard
Netflix.
mixed reviews on that. What do you think?
It's not terrible. The
and Drew Barrymore's
con-
in that too.
the
Yeah.
concept of it
Oh,
is
yeah.
good, but at the same time, it's like, oh, okay, all right, it's another zombie show. But at the same time, it feels like it's taking a different slant
Yeah.
on the zombie show. So
I like
like-
different
like,
slants.
check
on
it out.
zombies.
I do too. I like different views. I mean, we lost the low light. We lost the zombie
Yeah,
architect.
George Romero.
Yeah.
Hey, and you talking on what we've lost here recently, like
Oh.
George Romero, like
Tip of
very
the
rarely
iceberg, really,
can-
but
very rarely can you ask somebody, it's like, so what was it like to create an entire genre of
Mm-hmm.
something? And I mean, that's what George Romero was. And
Yeah.
it's like, even this past week, we lost like some amazing people. It's like, if you grew up watching cartoons, which I'm willing to bet you have, we lost June Foray, who, I mean, she was the voice of Natasha Benatoff and Rocky the Squirrel and Broomhilda on Looney Tunes. I mean, like, she
like
voiced so
Broomhilda.
many people that we grew up with. And then on top of that, this past week, we lost Walt Disney's practically right-hand man, Marty Sklar.
Yeah, Marty
So,
Sklar. Yeah, that's
uh,
sad.
Yeah,
He's a
so
longtime
low lights,
Imagineer and-
2017, still taking the good one.
That was a tough one.
they can't have too many left, do they? Have the original guys in there?
There's a few, but yeah, we're losing them. I mean,
yeah, that number is dwindling.
because you
down.
think about it, like Disneyland has been open for 60 years now.
Mm-hmm.
So the guys that were involved, with Walt from the beginning, they're just not that many around anymore. So, yeah, R.I.P.
Yeah, indeed.
Losing legends sucks. That is a low light.
And I mean, especially those two right there. I mean, I don't want to slide anybody else that's passed away this year because I mean, once again, 2016 continues into 2017. It's almost like death is undefeated. But I mean, like those two back to back. I mean, like that's one of those things, especially in June Foray. It's like everybody alive practically grew up with her in their childhood.
Yeah,
So
true.
Somewhere, somewhere.
I mean, yeah, whether it's Rocky and Bullwinkle, whether it's Bugs Bunny and the Warner Brothers stuff. I mean, like she was like she was still doing Broomhilda up until I think last year.
Holy crap!
Wow.
Yeah, June 4A. We already miss you, baby. Say hey to Mel Blanc for us.
Yeah, no crap. That guy was amazing too with voices.
All right. Well, what I want to do now is just open this up to make this a virtual conversation with the people that are sitting at our virtual coffee table and say, why don't you throw out a few 2017 highlights or lowlights so far? We're going to make this, we can't call it a question of the week because that's
We've been
already
banned.
hashtagged and
Yeah, that's
trademarked.
gimmick infringement upon every other podcast that I stole the question of the week from.
So we're just gonna call this for now just your virtual voice. Let your virtual voice be heard. I'll come up with something better on Thursday, but we'll put it out there and we'll ask you to respond. In this case, it's not going to be a vote. So reply and retweet and be a follower to our question that comes out Thursday. Mm-hmm. No pants shout out. No pants shout outs. I don't know. We'll come up with something. Mm-hmm. Anyway.
Hashtag take
no-
your pants off.
No shirt shout outs.
No shirt shout outs.
Yeah.
Hey, we can do
That
that.
actually works.
We can do no shirt
the
shout
no pants
outs.
poll and the no shirt shout outs.
Okay. There we go.
We're just encouraging everybody to get naked.
Well, no, you can still have pants on, and then the other one you can wear a
Everybody
shirt.
get naked.
Okay.
so give us your no shirt
Wherever
shout
you're
out.
listening, just get naked right now.
Yeah. Give us
Buzz Landon is.
I've been naked, man.
Oh, goodness.
so come back Thursday or today.
Please come back.
Give us your
All right, I'm going to turn the camera on, guys.
Oh, no.
Will you let me get through this? Give us
No.
please your no shirt shout outs on the Twitter, which is nerd_news_cafe. And you could win a free digital comic. So speaking of that, we do have to give away comics for last week. So let us go visit the No Pants poll from this prior Thursday, where we asked you, how do you like to, or what's your approach to trailers for these huge, big budget mega releases that we're getting all the time?
No. Huge.
Huge.
Hitch.
And so we said, do you fast? Do you fast? Do you stay away from the trailers? Do you take a little sample, maybe just the teaser, just do an appetizer, or do you gorge yourself and consume the whole thing? We got 11 votes this week. Kind of low turnout. Disappointed in you guys. You can do better. But
Thanks, Dad.
45% said just an appetizer for me. So you like a little taste.
So once again, I was right.
Yeah,
The middle.
right in the middle. It kind of is a nice bell curve. It's 27, 45, 27. So
Yeah.
as
Yeah,
you would expect.
If you take the graph and turn it on the side, it looks like a middle finger. which I'm always for.
Are you trying to tell us something, people?
Go get effed is what they said.
But thanks to those who voted, and we did get some retweets, so it's time to give away some free stuff. All right, this week we're going to give away the digital code for Black Bolt number 3. And while this isn't 1 or 2, it'll give you a little taste of what this series is like, and if you enjoy it, I would encourage you to go out and pick more of these up because they are great.
There's not a 0 on this one, is there?
No zeros.
Damn you, Marvel Comics.
And the author of this book, Saladin Ahmed, we just found out he's going to be part of a Star Wars comic that's coming out soon as well.
How cool is that? And
Yeah.
and that might explain why he never responded to our request for an interview. He seems important. He seems busy.
I did read his short stories. They're really good. He does good world building.
He's a very accomplished, great author. I mean, I just wish he would decide to come and join us on this fine podcast. But I respect that you're actually doing stuff that pays you.
All right, so Matt, give me a drum roll. We're going to do our digital number generation, and the winner is Peter Johnson.
Yeah.
Nice.
He doesn't say anything about himself. I always like to comment on what their little,
Quote.
their quote is, but no, he doesn't say anything.
Even nothing on the bio.
Nothing on the bio.
I think his picture says enough.
It's fingers
He's
with faces.
3 fingers.
3 fingers with faces.
So these are 3 sentient fingers that have somehow registered a Twitter account. So
Okay.
good on him.
I mean, that's really all you need is fingers, right?
Take your finger for a scroll.
On
There you
Twitter,
go.
Yeah, that is true.
We used to say that a lot. We haven't said that one in a while. So you will be getting Black Bolt number 3. And we want to remind Landon right now, if you haven't sent that code to Jared, you better do it because he was our winner last week. Do it
Yeah.
now.
You're in
Yeah,
trouble.
Jared. Like I'm dropping the ball. I'm so sorry, Jared. Especially since you are one of my choir brethren.
That's right.
Shout out to Jared Cates.
Hook him up.
Kate, not Kates.
All right. So if you want a chance to win, like I said, go out to our Twitter and let your voice be heard. Your no shirt shout out this Thursday, and since we don't have to put a time limit on the poll, as long as you do it before the next time we record, you'll be thrown into the drawing. So
If you guys do it, we'll cut you off Saturday at midnight.
okay, that's fine.
Saturday at midnight.
no
It gives
cool
you
like
the entirety of 4 days.
Yeah.
So
Plenty of time.
you got plenty of time.
So how else can they reach us, Matt?
Well, they can jump on the Twitter, of course, at nerd_news_cafe. They can jump on our Facebook page, which is Nerd News Cafe. Should be easy to find. You can send us an email at nerdnewscafe@gmail.com. And they can get on the website that will take it to all those wonderful places. So they shouldn't have any problem finding us at any designation. Remember, all complaints and dirty pictures go to @Landaws. He is accepting all of those.
And we're on the YouTubes.
And we're on
And
the US of Tubus.
happy to announce I do have movie editing software. So that video that I've been promising forever, it's a coming.
It's a coming.
So did you finally buy a MacBook Pro and Final Cut Pro?
No, I went the cheap route
Even better.
for freezies. So I bet you that this video gets released before Kingdom Hearts 3.
That's a promise he can make. That's a good promise. I like that.
Of those two promised relatively soon, I feel more confident that this video is going to drop before Kingdom Hearts does. So.
You
Nice.
betcha.
Follow me on Twitter, twitter.com/Landaws, LANDOZ. Like I said previously in this episode, I am hosting a podcast with my buddy Hunter East. It is Game of Thrones Talk, a.k.a. Got Talk, where he and I break down Season 7 of HBO's award-winning Game of Thrones. Obviously, fingers crossed at this point by the time you're hearing it, the episode for Episode 3 of this season is up, but editing is hard, as Jay will tell you. But head over to buttmunchchips.com, buttmunchchips, sit on your button munch. That is where you can download this fine podcast or that fine podcast, and you can go to nerdnewscafe.com to download this fine podcast.
It's all true.
Indeed. So for Matt Weaver and Justin Kritzinger, my name is Landa Doan. Thanking you for joining us on another edition of Nerd News Cafe. Stir it up. You've been great. We've been Nerd News. Good night.
Nice. Put a stamp on it.